All right, welcome to Deconstructing Data, or so we're still temporarily calling it. More on that in a second, but for now, I'm Jessie Lezak, Head of Marketing at BDEX, along with our co-host Joshua Morgan, BDEX Content Marketer Extraordinaire, and of course, David Finkelstein, BDEX's co-founder and CEO, as well as Forbes Tech Council member. Today's guest is Héctor Cen, and I apologize if I said that incorrectly. Feel free to correct me later on, who has been involved in software development and engineering for over 10 years. He's an advocate of open source software and initiatives. His current passion is working on data-centric projects, we read on the website. And in his free time, he enjoys jogging, roller skating, and reading nonfiction. So we hope to dive into some of all of that. So Héctor, thank you for being here. Could you please start at the beginning and tell us your full story from coming to BDEX? I guess your full story before coming to BDEX and how you became who you are today.
Well, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. Well, before coming to BDEX, I studied what they call informatics engineering in my home country. It's basically a software engineering degree. So that, and you asked where my passion for software development came. And when I tell this, it's basically someone that a lot of people tell, but many people don't believe it. It's actually because I was a fan of Star Trek, a big sci-fi fan since I was very little. And I kind of got interested in pushing buttons, like screens and so on. So that got me interested into software engineering. And before working in BDEX, I worked in multiple companies, mostly related to software development and programming, but always looking for the fun part of software engineering, which it's not always programming, So you have to go evolving from time to time. So I did some development for iOS, which was hot at the time, and nobody was doing it. So I started doing that. And then when I came to the US to get my master's degree, I started getting more into the data part of software engineering, which has a lot to do with data science and data engineering stuff. And then I ended up working as an intern for David Wellborn, which is our CTO. And then we got to know each other very well, and here I am at BDEX now. He joined in first, and then I followed suit, and here we are. We're making things better here already in BDEX since a couple of years ago, I think. And that's basically it. I got my interest for data in college here when I was getting my master's degree, because it was funnier, to be honest. And you do always different every day. Like it's not every day programming or being a code monkey, which is not bad, but I always like to have fun while I work. So data seemed the right place to do it, and it is, and I think it will be for the foreseeable future. So here I am.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Héctor. I just kind of a question off of that. Were there any other career paths that you kind of entertained before kind of settling on software itself?
Actually, no. And that's a question I ask myself every day. What would happen if I didn't made it into my first choice to go into college, which was software engineering. So because the second one was accounting and finance or something like that, which I'm terrible at. But luckily it did work out. But no, I to be honest, I didn't entertain any other career path other than software or something related to science, which was actually the big focus of when I was little. I could have been I don't know, a chemist, a physics engineer, something like that. But if you ask me now, if I have something else in my mind now, I would have to tell you I like something related to less to the science side of things, more the humanities. I would be a historian. If you ask me now, if you go into college now, what would you do? I would actually study to be a historian, and I would. I mean, if, I would work half of the day for BDEX to pay my bills, and then to be a historian just for fun. Yeah.
I think it's neat though to look back and see that your interest in computers started out from something like Star Trek. You know, it's true because like for me, it's as a child, I used to take apart all of my toys because I wanted to know how they worked. You know, and that got me into computers. I took an electronics class, and then I wanted to learn how to use a computer. You know what I mean? And so it's funny how the things that you do as a child can mold you into how, you know, where your career goes.
I actually had have a funny story about that. I also took apart a lot of my toys and electronics. I just didn't put them back together. So once I turned them apart, they stayed that way. So my parents, they had a TV, right? Like an old TV set where it has these panels with covers and stuff. So when I grew up, I noticed that they had like tapes, like tape marks with the glue, like and dirt, you know. And I asked them, what is that? And that's the tape that we put it for, so you can open the covers and start pushing the buttons. And yeah, I guess I was doing those things even while I wasn't aware. So there you go.
Yeah, that's great.
So when you retire, you're going to become a historian.
That's the hope. Yeah, historian, anthropologist, something. You know, like it's not that I grew tired of engineering or stuff. It's because I do like it, like studying like the origin of things, I guess. But yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I get it because I know, like when I was a kid, I thought of like I wanted to be a marine biologist because I saw Jacques Cousteau, and I thought, oh man, this is going to be super awesome. And then come to find out, about half of people that study marine biology are unemployed, or they're cleaning up oil spills, and I was like, oh, this isn't nearly as cool as I thought it would be. But speaking on that software, I noticed that you said that you enjoyed working on kind of data centric projects, and can you share some of like your favorite projects that you worked on, or maybe one that you're working on right now?
Actually, yeah. Well, out of the multiple things I'm working right now, the one that I actually have fun, that I would say, is one for our big partners, which is TiVo. So I basically started that project off of scratch. We had nothing with them, and it helped us to enable a good relationship with them. And it is fun because not only we do the what was asked from us, from TiVo to do for them and for their partners themselves, but it enabled us to like visualize this whole new segment of the business that we're now building, and made it into a product that we can use to leverage more customers. And it's fun because they gave us data. So it's data like at the most granular level. So it allowed us to build really cool insights of what the population of TiVo were doing, like what they were watching, how they were watching it. And it's kind of fun actually to see where there was nothing before and there's something there now. So we have multiple stuff there. I would say that before this relationship with TiVo, we never really thought that this could be possible, like what we're doing now. And we're about to do in a much larger scale from now on, I guess. And the other one, which is also very data centric, is to consolidate and build a profile around a customer, which it has been like thrown around like since forever, like building like a unique view of the consumer, like a 360 view, the single consumer view that you guys hear around in marketing business. But it is actually a very hard problem, and it remains unsolved. And I think it will remain partially unsolved for the foreseeable future, not because of it is impossible, but it is how the data is collected and moved around. It only takes one bad actor to contaminate a pool of data, and that data gets thrown around multiple providers, and then before you know it, everyone has it. And right now, like if you turn on your blender, it generates a data point, right? It goes somewhere. Somebody turned on a blender. Somebody checked the fridge to what was missing through the that screen they have now. And those are all data points. And how do you like link all of that to someone that you actually know for sure it was the person? Because it is a household. Like the household may have like 5 or 6 people. How do you build a concise and actual real profile of the consumer? We're getting there. I think we have made great advances there, but in general, in the industry, that's going to remain partially solved. But that's a very fun problem to attack because it involves a lot of data and thinking outside the box on how to do that.
Well, I was going to jump in earlier. Sorry, Josh.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned TiVo. I was excited to hear that you enjoy it and you're having fun with it because, it seems like more and more of that, at least I'm seeing it now, at least as it's coming through. And so when you're having fun, that usually is a good sign that good things are happening. So that makes me really happy to hear. And we've been working a lot on, promoting those segments with David and Fariba. And so it's good to hear that, you're seeing it on your end and you're enjoying it. And I'll say that from those Tuesday calls, I always hear Hector's name. And these are calls with TiVo we have. There was one in particular where they were like really singing your praises. So that was always really great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I do have fun. Sometimes they send like a flurry of requests, and I say, oh wow, like 10 requests this week. But no, I actually like have them done, and it is kind of reassuring when they come with requests from new clients or repeat requests from the same clients, because it kind of tells us that this is working, this is getting somewhere,
Yeah.
and they're using the data, and the data is good to them. So it's kind of reassuring. I would freak out really if they like one client comes and only with one request and they don't come again. Like, well, what happened? Did we do something wrong or what? But I mean, it's picking up, and I actually enjoy it because you can see how actually like from the different requests how the mindset of the advertisers work in the way that they segment these audiences and want to target people. So it would be more fun if we could see how it actually like performs if we did actually reach the right person. But that's part of a larger conversation.
Yeah. Well, and I think speaking of like that, that customer persona, I think it would be interesting if we could get to a point almost like when you log into Netflix, and David has talked about this before, about the McDonald's example. He gets on TV, he's like, I don't eat McDonald's, but I've got to watch all these, whether it's a Geico commercial or a McDonald's commercial. If we could get to that point to where that we have that, and so you turn on your TV and it says like who's watching, and you could put, well, David's watching, and so whatever whether he's been searching up, say, a trip to Australia, or whether he was looking for a new pair of Nikes or whatever it may be. Now we're going to see ads coming on that are about like Nike running shoes that he was specifically looking for, or kind of trips to Australia. So we have this kind of like relevant, targeted advertising going on. And I don't know if regular TV is capable of getting to that point, but with the data that like BDEX has, we could, if the technology was capable, we could get to that point, which I think would be very, very interesting.
Yeah,
I think that's sort of like the nirvana of advertising, is like someday we can take everything that we're doing in machine learning and apply it in real time, so that as someone's doing something, as you're watching a show on TV or on your Roku or whatever it is, it's automatically updating, it's seeing, what is relevant, who's watching and what's relevant to that person, and updating the advertising to them. It would be ideal. Ultimately, the goal.
I think there's it is the ideal, that the nirvana, but the thing that prevents us, or not us, but the industry at large, achieving that level of accuracy, is that a household may have has an average of 20 screens. Let's say each of the screens have an ID, and each of the screens is being seen by multiple people at the same time. You sometimes start looking something on your phone and then convert on your laptop because you're like reading a review on the phone and, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Then you sit on the laptop and do the checkout and stuff, right? And most of, I don't know if most of the advertiser, but I know like a large portion of them, their approach is just like throwing spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks. So they throw like a slurry of ads to you, to your house, and in hoping that some of those stick. Like, I mean, I do get ads from McDonald's as well. I never eat at McDonald's, and I say why. If it were like if you were to convince me that you were targeting me, you would show me only Asian food restaurants or something like that. But I don't see any of them. I just see McDonald's, Arby's, and Geico and Progressive and all of that. But I guess it's the state of the industry now, and that's what we try to improve with our data enhancement measures and cleaning and filtering, and offering the best data we can to our partners.
So, David and Hector, and this is kind of just something that I kind of had off the top of my head as we're kind of talking about this, because I think most of us have, smart TVs at this point, because like I bought my daughter a brand new Roku TV, and it was, I don't know, 36 inches or something, and it was like $175. Like, they're super cheap now. And so would it be possible, like an ad pops up and it says, do you want to see this ad? Or maybe kind of like, like we do at BDEX, how did you hear about us? What if you could put in what kind of ads would you like to see? Now, you have that, it's kind of tied to that device, but at least it's at that, we're getting closer to the household. Do you think that would even be feasible for something like that? I'll ask David first and then Hector.
Well, certainly. I think that, the issue there is the software to do it doesn't really exist. There's no sort of feedback loop right now. And that's kind of what Hector was saying earlier about, we build these audiences for TiVo's customers, and then they go out and they use them. And the only way that we know that it worked is that they come back and they want more, and that's great. But, even they don't have that feedback loop where a user can click a button and say, yeah, this was a good ad. I like this ad. Show me more of these ads. Show me less of those ads. And so that's from a technology standpoint, I think that would be certainly an advancement that would improve the entire ecosystem and the experience for not only the experience for the consumer, but the experience and performance for the advertisers as well.
Yeah, coming back to that, in TV, basically, you don't want like somebody asking you if you want like more ads of TVs. I don't think anyone will say yes, give me more of ads.
Right.
I think one of the most user friendly that I've seen is in Hulu, that they were showing an ad, and they had like a frame and say send to phone. Like you could like an advertiser could convert that signal sent to phone as something that you were interested in, right? But I mean, I haven't seen that anywhere else. What I see is skip ads, and that's it. And basically that tells the advertisers, I want to go back to my movie, or I don't want to show me these anymore. But there's nothing like to capture that feedback. And even if it were, there's no guarantee that the users are actually going to use that, because, like I said, I don't think it's in anyone's interest to personalize your ads because I want more of these. So I think other than the technology, they need better ways to approach a user on how to better serve them with ads. But there's room for that, definitely.
Yeah, I always go back to either thinking of because I have like YouTube music, and so you can give something a thumbs up or a thumbs down, so you'll see more of one thing and less of another. And then even with Netflix, it'll give you suggestions that are kind of usually, although every once in a while they kind of go off on left field, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to watch this Oprah documentary after I got watching like Bruce Willis, so I get it wrong. So Hector, I have a question for you, because my very, very early college career, and I say my college career because I graduated with like 216 college credits off a bachelor's degree because I couldn't figure out. Well, I kept changing it, and so my dad was a computer programmer. My stepbrother is a computer programmer. My other stepbrother's a computer programmer. So I thought, man, I am gonna love programming, and I stepped into like fundamentals like 101, and they were like do until then until this, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm cool. Like I don't need to do this. And I noticed that you said, and forgive me if I butchered this name. It's called regex.
Yeah, regex.
Yeah. And so you were saying that's like one of the things, like it just like kind of like irks you that you find kind of difficult. What is it about that particular aspect? Because I look at like C, C++, C++. I don't know how many pluses go with C's. And so to me, it seems all of it seems very complicated. But what is it about that particular that is complicated?
Well, regex, it was developed like a long time ago, a very long time ago, and back when the facilities we have now in programming language didn't exist, and resources in computers were pretty limited, and everything was treated as a text. So the complication on regex is there are multiple factors, but mainly is because the dichotomy between the information they can carry and the way they're written. So they're very dense, and like a very small regex can parse a lot of information or exclude a lot of information from a file or from a text. And that's very hard to visualize sometimes, how to debug and how to validate. So like when you like given your email address, there's a regex for that. But where did you stop it? Because your email may have like .josh.com, .net, .something. You have to stop somewhere, right? And then you can have dashes on your user. You cannot. So there's a lot of that, and the way it's written is like a soup of characters, and you say, what the hell is this? And that's what makes it particularly complex, and the fact that we don't use it like every day, and you have different standards and so on. So when you actually go and need to use them, it is kind of accepted universally that you can go and copy it from somebody else, and nobody's gonna. It's not frowned upon, so we're allowed to do it. But that's why they're complicated.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
So, sort of switching gears, Hector and David, do you mind both jumping in and talking about OmniIQ and what is making you both excited about this upcoming launch?
Who goes first?
Okay, no, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll go first. I mean, for me, more from a business perspective, what excites me is that, you know, for a long time, we've been trying to help companies understand their customers, their own customers, right? So that they can find more customers. And this is an opportunity for them to sort of take that to the next level, because the reality is, you know, they're going to be forced to with all of the privacy changes that are going on. And so, you know, I think it's finally sort of come to the point where this opportunity that we've kind of always been, you know, sort of pushing on our customers, hey, learn more about your existing customers. It's important. They're all starting to realize they need to now. And so I think, you know, what we're doing with OmniIQ gives them a very easy way to first off learn about their existing customers, and then secondly, be able to sort of leverage that information to find more customers. And I think that's what's exciting to me from a business perspective.
It's a great
Well,
answer. How about you, Hector?
From a technical standpoint, the most exciting thing is actually seeing it work, because like I said before, now there is something where before there was nothing, and this was a big project, and we started on paper and with drawing diagrams and stuff, and it was a big project. And the issue with big projects is you cannot like waste time on making the whole thing and then seeing it fail, because you would have to start over again. And it was nice because we were developing multiple parts of it. I did a couple of things, and the CTO and my other two colleagues did the other parts. And then when we put it together, it worked. Not perfectly at the beginning, but then we started to refine, and then we said, hey, let's see how this thing goes. And like it was like, hey, we can work together. How about that? And then it didn't. It actually validated what we had on paper before starting even writing the first line of code. And having projects this big, and it's not even a big project, but within the scope of what we do at BDEX, it was a big project. It's very fulfilling technically from a technical standpoint that you're building something that is going to support the business, and there's a lot of hype behind it, like people wanting to use it to see what they can get from their audiences, what more they can get. Like there's a lot of curiosity around, so that kind of motivates us as well.
Absolutely. Well, I think you guys have done a great job just from seeing it, myself, and getting some of my own personal contacts to upload their list on there and hear them talk about their pain points and ask questions about what to do. So I'm really excited about it. And hopefully, too, it'll help the other work you're doing in the long run, become easier. At least know for sales, one of the pain points is getting the data. So now people can just upload their data. So I think that's very exciting. So Hector, from your perspective, what would be your best piece of advice for our entire BDEX audience and community of people? So, not only our buyers, but people who follow us to learn, advertisers, programmatic buyers, business owners, executives, data scientists, engineers. If you could give them all one piece of advice, what would it be?
This is not entirely mine, but I've experienced it firsthand. Is that you have to hire data engineers before data scientists first. That's your first step. It's like the stepping stone into having strong foundations. First to understand your data, obviously, and then if you want to have like a data science pipeline and machine learning pipeline, you need to have data in a way that you can work with it. And the error that many companies do now and have been doing, like since data science was the hot ticket in the market, was hiring the data scientists. And the thing about having data scientists is sometimes they lack the technical skills to handle large amounts of data, and it usually hinders their own work. So it's kind of like a showstopper. So, and the other thing is that data by itself can tell a lot. Like most of the times you may not need a data scientist to get something out of the data that a data engineer or even a data analyst can spot, right? Without having like this advanced mathematical knowledge and data science stuff. That's the best advice I can give. Not because I'm a data engineer. I do data science as well and machine learning as well. But having the data that you can access it and having your infrastructure scale to changes, because changes occur like overnight and you don't realize it. Like you can like onboard a data partner, and then your whole system is broken because the whole infrastructure couldn't handle the data, and then you're right dead underwater. So you need to be able to handle data first before looking at it. So that's my advice.
That's great advice. And it goes along with a lot of the things David said in the Forbes Tech Council panels about data engineering, and in terms of it, like in the next 5 years being, one of the most in-demand jobs are some of the comments he's made. But yeah, so Josh, did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask before I move into some of the podcast stuff?
Hector, this is what when I used on my old days of reading like AndroidPlanet.com and stuff, and so all the editors there would talk about like the top 5 things that they just can't live without. So, in your personal and they talked everything from like like smart cameras to like a certain desk that they might use to like. So, what are the top 5 things that like you just like are like you can't live without?
I would say the first one is coffee, obviously.
Okay.
Although I don't drink as much coffee as before, I need coffee once a day.
I
Walking,
suggest decaf. I've started drinking decaf, and I just like
yeah,
the taste
yeah.
of it.
Sometimes I do that when I go out, but I don't have decaf in my home because like everything is tainted with the caffeine coffee, so with caffeine, so I don't do it. Um, well, walking distance supermarket, that's essential for me because I usually don't store a lot of stuff in my fridge, so I get fresh stuff. Internet access for sure. A food steamer because it's a convenient way of not like having a lot of dirty dishes. And Asian fast food. It's convenient, it's cheap, it's very nutritious. You can eat it every day, and it's good for your health. But I mean, like real Asian, like not like American Asian. Uh, no offense. Uh,
No offense
well,
taken.
this is because I'm Asian, so the Asian fast food. If I had one close, I would be every day there, but I don't. So, but yeah, those are the 5 things I wouldn't change for anything else.
Okay. So I was expecting you to go like this laptop, my
No,
iPhone,
no,
my
I'm way past that. I usually
okay.
whatever iPhone I have that I can communicate. The laptop doesn't even have to be this super behemoth to run stuff because we what we actually do is just push buttons in the cloud and that's it. And you don't require like a big laptop for that. You just run scripts and do all that stuff, and it's not even happening on your computer.
It's
Uh,
almost like your computer's an old terminal
Yeah,
from the
it's like a
old
terminal,
technology.
and
Yeah.
it wouldn't bother me if I had a terminal because actually I don't do any heavy lifting in my computer. I
Yeah.
think the heaviest thing running in my computer is in the mornings is Zoom, the video and the multiple screens and stuff, and that's why that those things are gone from the list of essentials basically.
Great question, Josh.
You know what? I just real quick, not to burn up time and stuff, but David, this hadn't been asked of you, and now that we have you on here, what are your top 5 favorite things that like you would not want to live without?
I didn't know you were going to hit me with this one. I don't know. I mean, obviously, internet access. So I got to start there. I'm not a coffee drinker, so it's definitely not coffee. But I don't know. I mean, for me, I just need to be outdoors. So somewhere where I can be outdoors because I like to exercise outside. Um, so outdoors is important to me. If I was locked indoors 24/7, that would kill me. I like to be near the ocean, so I guess I'll put that in there as well. Um, and uh, I'll go something similar to what Hector said. It's just about fresh foods because I don't eat, I don't eat out a lot. I don't eat fast food a lot, so I need access to foods that are fresh. Don't eat a lot of like frozen stuff or anything like that. So, um, uh, and my family. So I don't like being anywhere without my family. I don't travel a lot because I like to be home. I like to be with my family. So there you go. Those are my
Oh,
favorite things.
oh, I left my family out. I hope they don't hear about this. I hope they don't see this
We
video.
won't tell them. We won't
Great.
let them know. He's like, sorry guys, gotta go, fam.
Oh, you're funny, Hector. So before we jump to the closing, we just wanted to ask a couple questions about the podcast, Hector, and get your opinion. So we're trying to come up with names for the podcast. Here's what we have. There's Deconstructing Data, Deconstructing Marketing Data, Cookies and Data, and Data Dive with David. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say some combination of number one and number two, like deconstructing data and deconstructing marketing data. maybe deconstructing something along the lines of data.
I think at this point we're just getting like extra, affirmation that we should choose deconstructing data. That's why I keep introing with that title. But
Yeah.
everybody has pretty much said that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
everyone chooses that one. So I think at some point we need to make it official.
totally. Yeah. I figured we'd ask, well, at the beginning we said we'd ask everybody on the team and then we were going to ask listeners. So I feel like we have to like keep it like this big cliffhanger.
Okay.
All
right, cut that part out.
Maybe we just say, no, it's pretty obvious. Everyone likes deconstructing data. Great job, David. We came up with that one. It is a good one.
I think that's because it's being like implied like indirectly, like in the subject of the email, the name of the meeting, and so it's kind of biased, I want to say.
We've been pushing it on everyone.
Yeah, I've been pushing it like subconsciously. But yeah, I mean, deconstructing data works very well because data is everything, covers everything.
Absolutely.
If it were like cookies and data, I would have added something fun there, like not no more cookies, more data, something like that.
It would have made like the images easy, because we can use cookies and
yeah. But then we'd have to have somebody each time baking cookies and kind of bringing them to the podcast so that we can all just eat
that's
cookies
true.
while we're
a different cookie recipe every episode, something like that.
Yep.
Instead of the Wednesday, we like eat cookies.
And then when cookies officially go away, we just kind of toss them out and they're gone.
No more cookies. No more cookie for you.
Right. We'd rather deconstruct the cookie. So, and I think it's good. Like I have my master's in sociology, and so we had a whole theory we would study on deconstructionism, which basically like questions traditional assumptions and certainty. And so I really like it from the human perspective as well. But anywho, any guests you would like to suggest or people like target type people that you think we should reach out to in the future of this podcast? Like who would you like to hear from? Who do you think our audience could learn from?
I would choose some of the proponents of some data mining techniques.
Okay.
Because even though their theories and books and all of the knowledge that they've been generating over the years apply to before, I think it is valid now still. But I don't think we can have him. But the Google CEO or ex-CEO, I think Sergey Brin, he developed Google algorithm when he was in Stanford, and the Google algorithm, the initial one of this, it's very easy. It was a very easy algorithm. It had a lot of bugs, but it made Google, and it was based on not even like advanced sciencey stuff. It was just like a traveling, like an algorithm of a traveling salesperson that visited each of the places and collected information, and that's it. Something like that would make people see how this came to be and how it was before. So sometimes it was very simple stuff, and sometimes there were very complex stuff like machine learning that would be complex, or computer vision, stuff like that. But the Google algorithm is something that always people find very interesting because people think it's very difficult when it's actually not.
I think that when we share this on LinkedIn, we should tag him and see if we can get him to
see what he says, right?
Yeah, see if he wants to come on.
He might just be listening. He's probably going to hear the podcast before even.
I hope I get his name right. I don't know if it was him or the other guy.
No,
but they were. Yeah.
Get to interview him. Wow. So I guess in closing, we would love to get input from the listeners about what or who you would like to hear on our new podcast, what questions you have, and what you'd like to hear in terms of new data trends and advertising. So I guess if there's anything else or any feedback you'd like to share, feel free to do so in the comments, or you can always reach us at info@bdex.com. And of course, the website, bdex.com. You can always go there to find an expert to talk to. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you for
Awesome.
having me. A
Thank you.
pleasure.